Okay, so I wanted to, and with Agnes's permission, she's allowing me to record us looking at sort of like this one pager, right? So we need to boil it down into its simplest parts. So what is it that you want to accomplish, right? What is your North Star, the promise, the results, and then what is the structure of this program that you're offering? And one of Agnes's assignments was to go ahead and try and put together what I would call a one pager, but like everyone's interpretation of this is different. So she actually has a couple of slides that she would use to walk a new person through what this experience with her might look like. And she's going to share that with us right now.
And of course, I'm open to feedback. And
yes. So I'm going to give you permission to share. She's using Canva. So if you haven't started using Canva yet, or you need a place to make something look beautiful, Canva is definitely a place. Okay, your co-host.
Okay, perfect. Should be this one. Okay. Can you see it?
Yep.
Okay, so this is just the cover. So the idea is that I will be having a conversation with potential clients, and I'll ask them, would you like to see the outline of the program and of what you will get with this program that you decide to get it. So I'm such a visual learner, and I think in images, and I have to put things in a graphic representation. So here I made this. I don't even know if from a sales point of view it will be helpful, but so these 4 little purple circles represent the 4 modules that we're going to be working through with the transformational practices on activities and resources and content. So here they are. And the big goal, the transformation that we want to get is having a healing the relationship with our bodies and with food, and as a way to bring in freedom, choice, body love, peace, confidence, and joy in our life.
So stop there, because I want to just point out a couple of things, because this is literally like a living, breathing view of what we're asking people to do right now, right? So here's the promise. The promise that you're making is that you're going to have a healing relationship, right? Mm-hmm. And that these are basically how am I going to measure it, right? What are the measurement type things? We're going to see increased freedom, better choices, more peace in my body, more confidence and joy. Now, how you choose to measure these things throughout your program can change very wildly, but right, we have those. And then these are the 4 modules that are going to get us to this goal. This is perfect. Literally, this is perfect. And you might find that you tweak things a little bit. I agree. I love a visual. I love a visual. I don't think I'd change anything about how this looks right now. I would just run it past. Like the question I would ask when I'm working with someone is, does this make sense to you? Which module in here do you think is going to be most important to you? What would it feel like in your body if you felt like you had more freedom? Do you feel at peace with your body right now? Right? These are all, so we're kind of looking at this from a sales perspective, but this is a great way to have a conversation and look how clear and concise and boiled down it is. This is night and day from where you started, right? This is that idea of how do we take everything we know to be true and compact it down into something that I can share with others. Boom. This is a perfect example. And everybody's is going to look different. Everybody's is going to look different, but she got all the key elements in here. And the other thing that I'll point out is that, so remember, you have a North Star. What's your North Star, Agnes?
So my North Star is no more dieting and stop rejecting and controlling your body.
Right. So notice that's not on here. It doesn't have to be. It's your North Star. It's
but
your North Star, which is different, right? It's very different from what they want, which is a healing. They want that healing feeling. So I love that. So remember, just because you have a North Star doesn't mean it needs to be included in here. It's how you make decisions. You
yeah,
are constantly going to be in a place where I have to decide, do I put this content in? Do I take it out? Do I put this content in? Do I take it out? And you're always going to go back to your North Star. Does it meet my North Star? And will this ultimately get me to this result? If I were to ask you right now, again, we haven't run this yet, so we don't really know the answer, but I'm curious to you, is there one metric that you're thinking about in your mind for how you know this would be successful? Is there one thing that you would hear a person say, see them do, that would be like, yes, we're getting it? What would that look like for you? Do you know yet?
oh yes, I actually have a list of different uh, measures and skills. For example, when people start paying attention for the very first time to their body signals, that's very, very basic. Some people, believe it or not, they don't know anymore when they're hungry or when they're full, or even if they like their food, because they have been just following to something else outside of themselves, so they're numbed. So just the fact that if they now are actually letting hunger be, instead of taking appetite suppressant pills, because I know a lot of people who do that because they are afraid of hunger. So just embracing hunger, noticing hunger throughout the day. And I have a little chart in one of the modules where they can maybe take a picture, download it in their phones, and it's like a little scale just to help them.
I love it. I love it.
It's very qualitative, very concrete,
Mm-hmm.
as a reference, at least when
I
you've
love it.
been in touch with your body for years and years.
Yes. And so that's just like what you're listening for. So these are the things that will help you. Remember, we don't know all the answers. And our need sometimes to know them is the thing that's blocking us. But I want to just show you, even if you haven't run it yet, right? You know what you're listening for. Like you can actually trust yourself too. This is really great. Okay, show us the next one. This is really good.
This could be my one pager. That's it.
I was going to say, like, we think we need a ton of things. This one page is like, talk about a conversation, right? So let me ask you something. If you had free choice, what might that look like for you? And like the person sitting there going, I don't even know. Like nobody's ever even asked me this before. Oh,
Yeah.
she must have something that I need. She must have something that I need. So there's so many different places you could go with this. It's a perfect one pager.
So
I love it.
some people will ask me, because I had therapy clients ask, so what do you mean by this? Can you tell me more? What do you mean about reconnect to intuitive eating or reestablishing? So here is where I just provide a little bit more information about the different modules, which they are all like infused on these 4 little circles. So this is the goal of the onboarding module, where you're going to start uncovering all of the belief and rules that have been pretty much deciding how you relate to your body and how you have been eating for years and years. So
Yeah, we got, remember, this is if you're following the content framework, you got to shake people with love. The key to pulling someone into you, to becoming magnetic, to becoming attractive, is to hold up the mirror. I love your actual magnifying glass, and show them something they've never even probably heard before or maybe seen before. Love it. So that's the whole, so we have an onboarding module. Perfect.
I'm not gonna get into so much details, but I'll just mention it briefly, and depending on their reaction, I could provide examples and things like that, or something else. So I was thinking about adding an image because that can also elicit a lot of emotion. And that's what we want. We want them to experience a real connection.
Yep.
So module 1 is about this embodiment, getting to know your body again, having a relationship with your body again. So we talk about trusting your body again, so your body can trust you. And
Yep.
this,
I love it. I love
so
it.
I came up with this image.
Very cute. I love, actually, I'll tell you what is interesting to me. The embodiment yummy experience.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Love that. Okay.
And then module 2, we talk about self-compassion and self-forgiveness, and also the grieving that comes up as you start realizing, oh my God, these are the ways I was treating myself and my
I
body.
had those moments.
Yeah,
The first time I took a class, I had all this awareness, and then my next immediate response was, oh my God, this is how I've been talking about myself for all these years. And then
you
the immediate response to that was, and it's probably how I talk to my kids.
that's what I was going to say. Can you imagine talking to a little girl
And
like
oh my God, I'm doing it to my kids too. Like,
that?
so
Can
love
be
that.
emotional. I haven't found an image yet, but I'm working on that. I mean,
Okay.
I stopped working here. I was like, oh, let's go to bed now. So
It's
same.
perfect. It's perfect.
So I'm
Yep.
working. So module 3, same thing. Here's when I introduce them to
Mhm.
intuitive eating. I broke it down into parts. So here, intuitive eating has 10 principles. So we talk about principles 1 through 5, module 4, principles from 6 to 10.
I like
It's
how you split
about
them up. Yeah.
process. So we take a little bit of time with this because this almost feels like changing religions. It's almost like, I don't know, getting rid of a body limb. Is that uh, against the status quo? And at the same time, it makes sense. There's something inside of you that resonates, like a little baby that is the perfect example of an intuitive eater, a baby. Before things are disrupted in his or her life in a negative way. And then I tell them that I'm going to offer a private Facebook group. That's another.
That's an element of the program. In the next module, this is great for those of you that haven't, we're just getting our systems, right? This is a module program, but the modules do go in order, right? So she's put them into a specific order. And you can see that there are key points. This is basically what she's showing us, the key points to each of these modules. And then there's always a beginning and an end. So depending on what you have your onboarding or you have your end. I'm actually really curious. And then there's any of the elements. So in step 4, we're going to talk about what are the elements that should be present in order to make an experience even more transformational. And one of them is advisory, right? So there's the information they're going to consume on their own, but then there's the advisory sessions that can be in a group, that can be one-to-one. That can be via Zoom like this, that could be an in-person event. For those of you that are creating a little bit more of a like self-guided, the advisory could be a follow-up email that triggers at a certain spot. Remember, these can be as big or as little as you want them to be. Agnes is in a place where hers is expanded over quite a few days. Michelle, I'm sort of thinking about yours is going to be very quick, right? It's going to be 1, 2, 3 things. But the key is always going to be, where are you coming into it and making sense for people? So for Agnes, it's the advisory piece. If there's a community element to it, that is really powerful. She's having a Facebook group. For some people, like when I first got started, you notice I don't have a Facebook group. That was too much for me to manage. I don't have the team, I don't feel like, in play, considering everything that I'm doing. That's why my support group is more of the Monday.com. So the Monday.com is the place where you can come and you can ask questions. We're a small community, doesn't always need to meet everybody. Community just means human connection, right? Where is the human connection happening? It's happening in the advisory. It's also happening in this for her. Yours might be book a call, right? At the end of this, the human connection might be, listen, if you're liking what you're hearing here, let's go a little bit deeper. Let's have a consultation call. Let's have a clarity call. Let's have a review call, especially if your program is more of a leading into a one-to-one offer, like Michelle's, I'm kind of going back to Michelle's, like Michelle's might be. Kathy, I'm like thinking of you. Your group may want a Facebook group, or they might want like a text chain, just being on a text chain together. I'm in a networking group, and we just have a simple group me. It's free. And we're just able to do reminders, follow-ups, ask questions, share links. Again, it can be the big Facebook group. It could be something much, much smaller too.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I'm going to just say one more thing. If you're using this as a way to like bring people into your ecosystem, a lot of times I drive them to a social channel that I spend the most time on. So, I just did a live presentation, which is a great way for people to get to know me. I was just teaching about communities. And then a couple of times in my presentation, there's a QR code to my LinkedIn profile. I always know who really liked what happened because they immediately go to my LinkedIn profile and they connect in with me, and we start the conversation. Like, we're building our community there. It's also a place then they can go deep dive about me if they want to learn more about me. I have my articles there, and that kind of download in a day. So just want to point out to people, this is how it looks for your program, but it doesn't have to look the same for every program.
Oh yes, there are so many other platforms to do it. I'm just using
Mhm.
this because this is free and easy for me. And
And honestly, if your group is on Facebook, it's free, it's simple, it's easy. They're already on there. Like, Facebook knows how to do communities. I love Facebook.
And this would be only for paid clients. And I'm not planning. I'm not envisioning to have 10 clients in the next month or anything like that. Probably, if anything, maybe a handful of them.
Yep.
Just enough to provide that sense of community.
Yep.
I'm also created rules for this. This is not for asking me questions to talk about more personal stuff. For that, they will have to send me those questions and contact me through a portal, special portal like yours, like Monday. I'll have something else. This is more about sharing wins, maybe just sharing how they are doing in general, but nothing.
Yep. Yeah, you get to make up the rules. It's your program. You get to make up the rules, and you get to set up the boundaries, and you get to change them anytime you want. So, I have run Facebook groups with my programs in the past, and I just found it didn't work for me. So I shut them down. I mean, this is as much as figuring out what works for you and what works for your community.
I don't know yet, but
test it. You might not like it either. I don't want you to feel like this is the only way I can have a community element, right? This is your community element.
So,
okay.
I'm letting you know that 2 individual coaching sessions are included with the program every month for 4 months, and I'll add add an image there. And also, something that is going to happen within this private Facebook group, support group, is I'm going to offer a workshop that is actually based on one of the later modules that are not part of this program. We talked about the possibility of me sending emails with little pieces of information about the impact of patriarchy, fat phobia, all of these huge structures that we're part of that also impact our personal relationship with our bodies and food. So I'm thinking that I'm just going to offer a workshop inside of this group. I don't know if I'll just post a Zoom link, but the information will be there.
Okay.
Yeah,
play around with that, right? Because these are all the things that people need to know that are really beneficial but they
And
aren't the meat of the program.
that's part of the program that they're paying for. So I'll also provide this information because it gives a lot of context for them as they do the individual transformational.
And you might find as you start to run this, that these individual pieces of information are more valuable at different times in the process. That's one of the things that
This is too
you,
much in the beginning.
it's too much in the beginning. You might find like one of the things that I've been figuring out this time running this program, because now that I've run it a bunch of times, is I like, if you've noticed the cadence, for me, I'm at the place where it's like, the program is set. Now I'm starting to add like the nuanced things that make it even better. So I do start of the week, right? Here's, what you need to do. Here's your homework. And then I've been trying to find like the one story that I can share out on a Friday that kind of really gives perspective to the whole thing, a little nuance, a little tweak, a little example that's a little bit more fun and engaging. That's what I'm building right now. So I think that falls, that falls under this heading. Michelle, I'm thinking about you. You don't need to worry about this at all. Or Michelle, what I would say is maybe this becomes the follow-up email series that people get after they get your after they get your tangible piece of material that kind of spotlights and highlights whatever it is you're highlighting. There might be a nice 4 or 5 series of emails that go out that cover topics like this that didn't fit, but become important and meaningful to people afterwards. So I love that. Cindy, same thing for you. I think finding where those ancillary extra things, they don't fit in the core, but they become like that next layer. That's a great thing for you to be thinking about too.
So I'm thinking that when I have people almost done with module 2, I may offer this workshop.
Okay.
When I have enough people going through at least half of the program.
And you know what? So you'll notice what I've been doing in these beginning stages with my program is I sell the accelerator, you get all the components to it. You might end up being like, maybe this is a workshop that when you run this, you open this up to people on your email list, people in your ecosystem, and that this might be more of a lower price initial offer into you that then maybe they ascend. So we've been doing that with the Content Design Lab, and it's actually working out really well. So the Content Design Lab is like the beginning phase that they need. And then they actually go from that into the main program. So keep that in mind too.
Absolutely. Okay, so that's it. So for me, this is huge because last year I would have made like 50 slides, an entire encyclopedia. But this is progress. And I know I can make it still, I can take stuff out, but.
The first version that you're gonna like, because right now no one else has seen it. So don't do anything else. Start having conversations, like start making this be the reason that you have conversations. The only thing that I'm going to give you one piece of feedback, and it's just a visual thing. I would like to see, since this is a program that's in order, I would like to see either a number 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, the words module, because you have onboarding module here. I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried, but here on your graphic, I don't know the order.
Oh,
So
got
there's
it.
no 1, 2, 3, 4 to kind of match up with that. I might be tempted to put like a little circle in the corner that's like 1, 2, 3, 4.
I put
And
an
then
arrow. An arrow would be the same thing because you don't
you
know.
could do an arrow. Yep, you could do an arrow. I don't know the direction. I don't know the order. And on first glance, I wouldn't know the difference between what's in the big circles versus what's on the inside. So I think if you gave me a little arrow or gave me a number, that would just add a little visual cue for me.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah, awesome. Well, that's what I wanted to share. I was wondering if you have a sample of an email sequence, like when you actually, just in the case that you want to deliver a piece of information in that with that format.
Yep. Yes, I'm gonna stop this and I'm gonna make a separate video out of that and I'm gonna show it to you. So let me just stop this one.